Hello there, fellow coders and friends, and welcome back to the Basics of Programming tutorial. This is Vari, and I'm here to take your soul. No, I'm kidding. Alright, so last video, I talked to you guys about data types, variable declarations, and defining your own functions to be used within your code. Now, just a small touch-up on the defining of function stuff. It's some super simple that I totally forgot to mention in the last video. This is how you do it in Python specifically. Not all programming languages use this def keyword right here. Some do, some don't. It all depends on the language that you're using and the syntax designed from the developer of the language itself. So I just wanted to let you guys know that. I'll get into syntax-specific things in my language-specific tutorials. Anyway, this video is going to cover selection structures. Now, what a selection structure is a way to have your program do different things based on certain conditions. Now, before I get into the syntax of selection structures, which is pretty much almost universal between all programming languages, the keywords are all basically the same, just very minor syntax differences. You need to know about your conditional operators, because those are what you'll be using for the most part when using these selection structures. There are other things that you can do with selection structures, but I'm just going to give you a brief overview using conditional operators. Now, your conditional operators are your less than, your greater than, your less than or equal to, your greater than or equal to, and your equals. Well, that's plus plus. And your equals. You see, this is how you say something equals something in a programming language. This is an assignment operator. No, don't move. I don't want you to move. Go back. Lol. Haha. Yes, this is your assignment operator for variables. This is your equals conditional operator. Remember that. Now, there's also a negative logic operator, pretty much. That's what they call it. If not something, do something, stuff like that. Python uses a keyword, literally just the word not. I don't know why caps lock was on. It uses the not keyword for that sort of thing, which I find pretty cool because it makes the language flow more like English than looking like full of math symbols and random symbols and stuff like that. Another reason why I really like Python. Most use this symbol right here, an exclamation point. An exclamation point in front of anything, any sort of condition statement, means not that. So if that doesn't come to true, then it'll be true. So, for example, not for less than 5 would actually evaluate to true. Or no, this would evaluate to false. Because this would evaluate to true. 4 is definitely less than 5. But then this not operator here would negate that and then turn that result into false. Except in Python it would be not 4 less than 5. Anyway, so those are your conditional operators, your basic ones. There's a couple more, but I'll actually go over those in the next video briefly. Actually, you know what? No, I'll just let you know now. There are also 3 operators that allow you to test for multiple conditions. So you have your OR, which is 2 lines, 2 straight lines. You have your and, which is 2 ampersands. And actually that's it. Your or and and. Now, again, in Python, you actually don't need to use those. Those do not exist in Python. Instead, they use keywords, literally or and. Isn't that neat? English. Easy to read. Python's great. Now, what those do is they check for 2 things. Your or checks for one or the other. If either one evaluates to true, then the whole statement is true. For and, both need to be true in order for it to evaluate to true. If either one of them comes out false, the whole statement is false. So, for example, 4 less than 5 or 5 greater than 3. This whole statement would evaluate to true because 4 less than 5 is true, and even though 5 greater than, actually, well, I meant for this to come out less than 3. Haha, there we go. That's what I wanted. 5 less than 3 would evaluate to false. But even though this evaluated to false, this true makes the entire statement true. Now if I were to put and here, it would be false because 5 less than 3 is false. I don't know why I was going to say 5 divided by there. I don't know where my mind's going right now. I'm going crazy. Anyway, now that you have a brief introduction to your conditional operators, let's use them in an if statement. Now we're going to redefine our function here to use a selection structure. Now the keyword for the most basic selection structure is your if statement, and the keyword is if. If 4 less than 5. If past val, yes, you can do that. Your variables are really, really neato, aren't they? If past val less than 10, then we're going to print out past val is less than 10. Simple, right? Pretty simple. Not hard to grasp. Now, if that didn't evaluate to true, if past val was not less than 10, what do you want it to do? I mean, you could just you could put another print statement out here, right? Print 10 or print past val or whatever, right? But why would you do that when you can have this nice little neat keyword here, else print something? It would work either way. You don't have to put the else statement there, but when you're reading your code, it looks kind of weird when you have your first if statement there, and then if that condition wasn't true, just do the thing outside, right? Also, if you didn't have this else statement here, if past val was less than 10, it would do this bit of code right here within that statement, but then it would also do the statement outside of it once it exited the selection structure, once it came out of this if statement here. We don't want that. So to avoid that, we use the else statement. Else past val is not less than 10, right? Now we can run this, even though, so you know, it's really weird comparing a string to an integer. So I'm just going to switch this to 6. have it be less than 10. So once we run this, this should be the one that prints out. We'll see if that is actually true, and it is. Past val is less than 10, because past val has the value of 6, which is being passed by our variable. Pretty cool, right? Selection structures are super neat. Super neat. You can also nest them, meaning you can have selection structures within selection structures, and you can have your program do a whole bunch of really neat things depending on the conditions that you need for whatever program you're writing. And there are so many different things that you could do with selection structures. It's super neat. Now, another selection structure that I don't believe exists in Python, I'm not 100% sure, but there's also a selection structure called a switch case. Now, what switch cases do, yeah, it's keyword's not here, it's not in Python. What a switch case is it takes a value, we'll just do a value of here, so we'll do switch on 10. So, actually no, you know what, that doesn't make sense. Hold on real quick here. We're just going to do a random variable name, var, we're going to give it 10, right? And then we're going to have a switch case on it. What this means is that this selection structure right here, the switch statement, is going to check a bunch of different cases, quote unquote, using this variable. So after you have that switch there, you put in your cases with the keyword case. So case 4, meaning if our variable var is 4, then do something. In the case of it being 10, do something else. And then most switch cases also have a keyword called default, meaning if variable matches none of the cases defined within the switch statement, do default statements. Pretty simple, right? Basically, it's like a giant nested if-else statement, but with a bit of cleaner looking code, because it's just switch and then all of your defined cases. And that pretty much wraps up selection structures. There's only 2 selection structures that I am aware of, and that is your if statements and your switch cases, even though switch cases do not exist in Python, which actually kind of makes me sad, but I mean, it's whatever. Python is still an incredible language. But anyway, thank you guys for watching. I appreciate all of you. The next video, I'm going to cover loop structures, another really cool tool that's built into every single programming language, pretty much. Alrighty guys, I will see you guys later, and again, thank you for watching. Please subscribe if you like these videos, and I love you guys. Bye-bye.